And welcome back to the European Yu-Gi-Oh! Championship live in Utrecht. Well, I almost said Utrecht there. We're live in Antwerp. My mistake. So we've just had round 5 with Angers Belgian, basically a decisive 2-0 victory there with a surprise Nibiru against Inkabui, and that was an amazing round. But we move swiftly onto our round 6, where we have Franceso Papini. And we also have Michael Forner, who has come second in WCEQ Utrecht and 4th at Worlds in 2017. It's going to be absolutely brilliant seeing these guys. They've already done a dice roll before coming onto the stage, and you won the dice roll. So are you going to be going first?
I will go first.
Francesco is going to go first. So without any further ado, I'm going to throw you guys over to your commentary team. Guys, take it away.
Hi everyone, once again, and welcome back to the coverage. We have an all-Italian future match for you, which is the one between Michael and Francesco, just like Ed said. And well, it's gonna be for sure a great one. As you mentioned, Michael, quite a known player. I guess back in the day in 2017, he was the underdog and a kid, kind of. Now he grew out of it. He's looking much more like a normal human being. But yeah, of course, I know him very well. I got to play against him both in Utrecht, as we all know, and at the World Championship twice, actually, both on bubble and for the 3rd and 4th place. And I gotta say, he's a very unique player in the way that he always tries to find some interesting decks or something out of the blue. And he does it once again here in Utrecht. He's X1, both far, and he's playing Dragon Link, one of the few players with 55 cards main deck, actually.
This is one of the decks we have been talking about yesterday in our meta discussion.
Yep.
We were really looking forward to it, especially because like over the last few years, I think the deck was always there. Like it was hit
sure. Multiple times, but
yeah, still here. And as you said, Michael always played this spicy, list,
exactly.
if we want to say that.
And once again, he doesn't fail here in here because it's Dragon Link. I mean, we saw it being quite successful. It won the French national championship, so a huge event, 1,500 players. So it's still a deck. We'll see how it competes against, let's say, the new decks from Power of the Elements. But we will talk more about the weirdness, I guess, of Michael's side deck, but for now, not spoil it. Instead, Francesco is again on a more traditional deck. He's playing Sprite, but a few interesting choices, right?
Yeah, especially because, like, from what we can see, his side deck in Dark Lurer no more,
yep,
which most of the players decided to main deck. And this could be a huge difference in this matchup, especially because like Sprite has problems dealing with big monsters.
Yeah. But I think Michael will not be very happy with his opponent deck because, as you mentioned, most players are using Dark Luller, and Michael is trying to come up with a combo that plays around it with Snow and other stuff. Instead, Francesco is maining a lot of entrops, so he's maining Gamma, which is something you would expect maybe in the side deck, definitely not in the main deck. And he's also maining DD Crow and Ghost Bell, so he has a lot of entrops. So it will probably be a game whether Michael is able to go through the entrops, but no matter what, it is Francesco who won the die roll, so let's see if he's able to combo through. Our players are ready, so let's see who will be the winner of this round.
Okay,
so here they are, and what a way to start things off. So the starter from Francesco, by itself good enough to combo off. We'll find out what the rest of his hand looks like, but yeah. For Michael, we'll see. He does play Gamma, so here if he activates its effect, as he will, Gamma would be really strong from Michael. Let's see.
Yeah, this is one, I think, of the key elements of Dragon Link that can afford to play multiple hand traps, no?
Yeah, absolutely, and as you can see on the screen, Francesco is playing a Nimble Engine with the Beavers. Okay, so he gets to the red, which is already going to make things more complicated for Michael, which is maining, I think, he permanent Sash,
yeah, he plays
a few other hand traps,
yeah. plays Valor, plays Ash.
Yeah, Valor too. Yeah, he told us before the match that he was kind of nervous because he picked up the deck yesterday, but I don't believe him. So
No.
I absolutely don't believe him. So let's see. For the rest, it looks like, yeah, he will for sure have a Jet, which is going to give him a Smashers now, or if he wants another starter to just play with the Carrot. Let's see. Usually, yeah, you would pick the Smasher. Yeah. And he does, so nothing too surprising here.
Yeah, I think Francesco picked up very good. I think he also has Prosperity.
Yeah, it's a really, really solid end.
So
he's activating it? No.
No, I think he's exploding.
Okay, no, because that would be... Okay. I mean, maybe he plays the Spring Sense in his deck, so... Let's see. Okay. So he's explaining cards, so... Michael Forner with the cosplay of a player who we're just here to have fun. Let's see. Okay, he does have the Ronin Toadin, not the best to hard draw, but I mean, he's gonna go... Do you like this line of play? Like, I guess it's okay because you need a monster to tribute for red, so might as well go for the normal Ronin. But he does have the impermanence, so
which is good. Yeah.
Great response here from Michael. One of the few that he could have gotten away with, and he does. So great solution here. I think I saw a Super Poly though in the end of Francesco, right? Yeah. And he also has the Prosperity, so. Absolutely amazing hand from the Italian, but both are so.
Maybe you think he could have waited to summon the Ronin Toadin? I mean, like maybe you go for the Gigantic.
I think you're forced to because you need a monster to tribute for red to play around, you know, Ogre, Ash, stuff like that. So the only thing is whether you want a Prosperity at the end of the combo or at the beginning. But I mean, he's thinking about banishing 6 at the end. He just banished 3, and yeah, Michael allows it. So he picks up Impermanence Swap and yeah, the Beaver. So I mean, probably Impermanence is the safest, let's say, because the rest was a Super Poly, and I think he has one more card even, which is the Smashers. So,
but I think maybe we flashed it because he's not playing Super Poly.
Oh,
yeah.
Maybe. Yeah, because he's not even siding it, so luckily for him, it's not gonna be a... I mean, he does need a card to discard from... let's see, he's thinking about it a lot. So, first of all, we can have a good tell about what your opponent is up to, because 55 cards is quite rare in the format. You could be playing against some sort of tier elements deck, but for the most part, it's gonna be probably Dragon Link or like a Punk deck. So let's see. We're gonna see the Elf most likely, and then yeah, gonna get back one of his monsters.
No more interruptions here from Michael, but like overall, yeah, he's going to set the Smasher.
Yeah, and he picked up in the end.
The impermanence, right? No. I think we lost it.
Nice.
No,
he's definitely considering it. So now Michael is asking some more.
I must have added the Swap Frog, because like otherwise he would have said.
Yeah,
right?
For sure. And now plays back to Michael, as we mentioned, pretty much playing a lot of different engines in his deck. Yes, of course, the Adventurer package, and then a lot of Rocket, you know, cards. So let's see. He's gonna start things off. Okay, not the best with the Faithful Adventurer. Still, we haven't seen much of the Adventurer package here today. So he opens both. Okay. Of course, not super ideal, but at least he will be able to go through a little bit of the advantage. I think he's only playing the Griffin, so kind of unfortunate to open both, but you'd rather open both than none.
Was Ogre?
So, no.
Was Ogre?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Ogre coming down already from Francesco. We said that he's maining a lot of different end traps in the main deck, and he's actually getting one of the best ones here. So
yeah, he plays like, I think, except for Nibiru, plays like them all.
yeah, pretty much plays every end trap of the 4-man in the main deck, and at least one was almost guaranteed. So he gets rewarded with the Ghost Ogre, probably one of the better ones against Michael deck. And now he can attack over the red. At least this will allow him to activate an effect before Elf can bring red back, but it doesn't look like it's the best way to go through this board. So in this case, if you want to attack something, would you rather attack the Elf before or the red? I think overall, yeah,
maybe you get rid of the Elf.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
because it's pretty much okay. He does attack the red.
Okay. He goes for Elf.
And he goes for Elf. Interesting. So he goes for the Jet. Very interesting. Because I was thinking for a moment if he was mainly the Pixies, which we have seen some players use, but by the moment in which you go for Jet, that's not even the case. And by doing this, you basically lose the only other interruption you had outside of Smashers. It could be that he just wants to use the Smashers on the token afterwards. Well, let's see. Wow, he allows it. Okay. Then, yeah, I don't really get this play from his opponent, but now, unfortunately, another one of those cards that you don't really want to pick up. The Rocket Recharger, of course. So usually you want to get him out of the deck with the Tracer, but he actually goes for Smashers here.
Because like maybe he's thinking that Michael doesn't have any other extender.
Yeah, but I don't know. I mean, if you had the red, you still could have ended on red plus Smashers. So I'm wondering if maybe Francesco was a little too excited to flip and use that card, but let's see. Maybe he doesn't get punished by Michael, who would be, though, with an unfortunate end, because he's playing free teleport, he's playing, of course, the all of the extenders you would expect in a normal Dragon Link deck. So let's just see. Quick launch would be amazing here. And he does have the teleport, so this could get really, really bad. Also, because Francesco could have been holding an Impermanence, we have to keep in mind, and he opted out to just get the Swap Frog instead.
I think you go on with Diam.
Yeah. So this is well played by Michael, who pretty much baited out the other negations. Still, we could have been looking at a red now, which would have changed things quite a bit. So I don't know. It's an interesting line for sure.
Yeah, you could have get rid of the token, right? Then with the red on the field. Yeah, now it goes for Fox.
Yeah, obvious stuff. As we know, this is one of the most powerful engines there are at the moment.
And I like the fact that Michael is combining them, you know, playing the adventure package along with Punk, and I think the deck is really good.
Yep. And here we'll see if he wants to go right away for the Chaos Ruler. Of course, that would be the obvious line, which we have seen multiple times already. But he also has some additional options in his extra deck. Let's see. Yeah, I would be surprised if he didn't go for it. And here, for example, we could have seen the Impermanence, but along with the red, I think he could have stopped him, because he would have had the Impermanence plus red to stop him in his tracks. Instead, he's gonna allow him to pretty much go through. And here there are so many good mills that Michael could hit. So yeah, gonna cut, and let's see.
Also because he plays a lot of hand traps as well.
Yeah, so many good cards you can get here. Let's not jinx it. Okay, Veiler is already decent, and Nibiru as well. So interesting choice. I mean, probably Valor is the safest, but yeah, he does pick it up.
Yeah.
So
He didn't mill any other good cards at all, like, you know.
and now we probably see the. Okay, he's thinking about it a little bit, but we should get the Kristen down. Possibly. Yeah. Not a surprise. He's playing the Rose engine, so we might just see Rock Rose and then the Basil Shoot. So yeah, that's what's gonna go through. We have seen this plenty of times. Maybe we didn't expect to see it as much today, but it's definitely a deck that has been performing super well in the past months, and yeah, here you can see why once again. Fairy Tail Snow is an option which is so disruptive against the Sprite, because as soon as you put face down their monsters, then the only card really they can have is Starter, and that's tough, especially when you're fighting back. So
we've seen how many times this deck abuses of, I mean, this combo, like with the Crystron itself.
Absolutely. So good stuff until now by Michael. He said he's rusty, as mentioned, but doesn't look like he's that much anyway. So now he has to decide what line to go for, as he has already entered battle phase. If he wants to just clear the board, for example, through an access code, he has to be careful about the line, because he only has 2 cards left, I think. So he has the Valor for the Swap Frog, eventually. Well, I mean, the Snow is just so strong. There are 3 cards left in his opponent. And oh, he doesn't use the effect, huh? Wow. So he doesn't use the effect. So big tell here. And unless he milled it, then we missed it, of course. But let's see if no, yeah, we can't see the graveyard. Yeah, he milled a couple of spells, so it could be that he milled it. But by his opponent asking him, I want to guess that maybe yeah, that wouldn't be the case. But we do know the full end, so I guess he milled it, because we do know that Basil Shoot and Vader, so we can't quite see the graveyard, though. So. And for now, as you can see, this is one of the cute things, I guess, of Dragon Link, is that you can go for this kind of line and still end on the borderland if you want. Here you can search the Dragon Ravine, so...
No, I think very good stuff from Michael here.
No, he's playing fairly well, I would say. And potentially, as you mentioned, we get the Ravine, and you can get to the borderland afterwards. It's actually quite unfortunate that he milled the field spell, because Sector Launch would have been insane here. Because what you do is usually activate the Raven, then you send the Router, you get Tracer, so you can do a lot. And it is the usual stuff that we have seen throughout the years. So.
Yeah, it goes with Savage Dragon, you know, so like it's very powerful,
you know. So now, as you can see, he could go just for Borderland. It's maybe slightly risky, because I don't think he has another monster in the graveyard, so he will be forced to use the Ravine. But I also wouldn't mind going just for the access to just clear the board, you know.
Because it also has Valor for you know, follow-up turn.
But, I mean, the scariest thing is the Snow. So unless we might see a Crow, but then even then, I think Michael has enough to activate Snow twice. So. Yeah, he's thinking about his plays, and probably will go for the access. Let's see. Yeah, I like this. So he knows that he has to clear the board because he has the Snow. So I think well played here by Michael, who is cut off from the borderland at the moment, but he's able to just completely clear his opponent board and leaves him with just what he has in his hand. So I think good stuff here from Michael. Yeah.
Overall, looking at how the game began, I think he can very be happy.
Yeah.
How it's going. This is pretty much what we have seen so far in the last, couple of tournaments as well with Dragon Link. Always puts up a lot of Link monsters, and here he also has the Chaos Lurer for follow-up turn. I mean, yeah, he's considering to use it.
I mean, yeah, it's just considering which one to banish.
Yeah.
But yeah, he does go for the Basil shoot, and now it's kind of unclear whether he wants to continue for which line. He will go for a Link Chew here. So let's see what he has. He'd probably go Erratic Spheres, right?
Yeah.
I think 100% is the Spheres, which could be really, really strong. Let's see. Yeah. Erratic Spheres, so good against Pride. So I think this game is looking like it's going to be Michael almost every time. I think Dark Lurer is a card that Francesco would love to have, but he's just siding it, so he cannot top deck it. And yeah, this is a great turn by Michael, who completely destroys his opponent, sets up a Snow plus Spheres with a Veiler in his hand, so...
Yeah, I mean, he played very well. I think also the fact that the Smasher was not activated in that situation.
Yeah, there was a weird, I guess, situation there with the red and the Smashers, but at the end of the day, I think he still had enough where he could get rid of his opponent and probably win this game. But once again, I'm stressing it out. Oh, and he gets rid of the Veiler, or no, he just wants to pass. Okay. Interesting stuff. He just ends his turn with the Ravine on the field, and now for Francesco it's almost mission impossible. He has to work through Spheres plus the Snow, and just one of them is enough usually for Sprite. We do know that there is a Swap Frog in his hand, but the Veiler takes care of it, and yeah, they're just asking some of the generic cards. Luckily they're both Italian, so there is no language barrier overall going on.
Did he draw Impermanence? Yeah.
Yeah, so we see the Impermanence, and here you can see the cheeky play from Michael, who actually activated the Ravine, which could be an interesting one, but yeah. Michael allows it because he knows, okay, the Beaver is good though. The Beaver is decent, you can just go Veiler and Snow, I don't know. There's a lot of stuff that Michael can do. Here we will see if it's true that he doesn't have that much experience with the deck, I guess.
But I think that previous turn he added the Impermanence with Prosperity, right? Because like he had it.
Maybe,
Could be, no?
But then you keep it? Keep it for the next game, maybe. You never know. And yeah, let's see here, as mentioned, the Veiler comes down. Ooh, and the starter comes down, and I think this is a bit of a actually misplay from Francesco, because by the motion you could just see that Michael was about to use Snow. So a little bit of a misstep here by Francesco, who could get punished, maybe not heavily, but it was 100% obvious that Michael was going to use the Snow, and instead he revealed immediately the starter. So now, again, let's hope it doesn't cost him the game. He still has a lot of options, and starter was an incredible pickup here.
Definitely, because like he was left with one card. Yeah, and by the way, he had the Impermanence, so he could have said it the previous turn, right?
Yeah.
Because like the other choices he had was Swap Frog, which we thought he added, but he did not in the end.
Yeah, also because you search for the smashes,
yeah,
so
yeah.
if you set one,
exactly.
You're already even also giving them the tell what that is. So okay. And here we see an interesting line. So I'm gonna show you guys on the screen right now the erratic spheres. This is a very, very good play, and Michael Forner takes game 1. So if anyone just missed what happened after the impermanence resolved on the erratic spheres, Michael had the choice to actually use it, but instead pretty much demonstrating that he does have experience with the deck. He went for a very good play, so he allowed it. Then he went for the snow, booked his opponent monsters, and used the erratic sphere cost to tribute the snow so that he could use it again to put face down the other monster. So very, very nice play by Michael, who takes this game 1, even going second, and I gotta give credits to him. Very,
he
very
played
nice.
very well.
Yep,
Like he played very
game.
well as he knew the deck. So
Yeah, I mean, it's always, you know, always complaining.
he always complains.
Yeah,
but,
it's the crying technique, we call it in Italy, where you just say, I don't have anything anyway, and then you get to play the game and win. So Italians, I mean, I'm one of them, so you too. Anyway, looking at the side decks now, we can finally spoil what really caught our attention about Michael's deck, which was this time his unique side deck, which is basically another part of his extra deck.
Yeah.
So he's siding free Super Poly, a card that is no surprise whatsoever. We saw it in a lot of main decks even, but he thought his extra deck was a little bit too tight for that. So he's siding 4 extra deck cards, thinking that 11 cards are just enough in his side deck apparently. So that's definitely an interesting choice, but it doesn't surprise me when it comes from Michael.
No, indeed. Like we have seen him playing every time, you know, these deck lists with a lot of cards,
unbelievable
single
things,
cards. Yeah. So when we saw it, we said, fine.
It's
okay.
Michael. It's Michael. It's Michael. So not a surprise. But yeah, outside of that, he's playing Diddy Crow. Obviously, that's for tier more than Sprite, but we'll see if he brings it in. Instead, his opponent is gonna go first. Which means he keeps his deck as consistent as possible, but then he brings in 6 cards, which are as straightforward as it gets, which are Solemn Judgment, pretty good against every card, so at the cost of life points, and they still have plenty to play with. And then a card I think we haven't seen yet on stream, we have seen it plenty of times going through the top tables, which is Appointer of the Red Lotus. So for anyone who doesn't know it, we will show it on screen later on when we're back on the table. You pay 2,000 life points, reveal your end, it's a trap card, and you get to see, it's pretty much a budget drop dash shoot, so you get to look at your opponent end, you pick a card and they banish it until the end phase, so it's good. You can use it sometimes, it's risky because technically it's a -1, but if the game ends no matter what next turn, then it's essentially a 1-for-1, and it's one of the best cards that you can get then.
Yeah, I think either you start with the Pointer of Judgment, it's a good solid start.
Absolutely.
And it's interesting to see that Francesco decided not to play, you know, Dimensional Barrier, so maybe play Judgment over Barrier.
For sure, like, interesting, and as we mentioned, he was already maining a lot of Entrops, but he has Nibiru in the side deck, which is gonna come in, and that's obviously even better considering how many Entrops he's maining. So we'll see. Regardless, they're gonna give their best to advance here. And now I think our players are ready, so let's jump back into game 2. As they pick up their cards, I did see an interesting hand from Francesco with, the Beaver, and I saw a triple tactics talent, so one of those cards which have a huge impact when your opponent entraps you.
Especially because like Michael is playing multiples once. So
Wow, and we see a link 1 into l'Ammiraglio, as they called him. So Almirage, which is a very interesting line of play. So this plays around Ghost Ogre, but with the red on the field, of course you will need an additional monster. So Michael just wants to pay attention, of course, to his cards. As mentioned, Almirage is basically there to play around Ogre. That's it, I guess. But might as well do it, I guess. It's
maybe he will do his job.
Yeah. So let's see if Michael has any response. He does have Nibiru. Yeah, and it's exactly 5. So this Almiraj really costing his opponent at the moment. Sometimes you just overthink, I could say. But
And no, we were saying before that, I mean, of course Nibiru is strong, but against Sprite,
yeah, it's not really.
yeah, it's not really. I think Mike in this situation, wow, drew
Double Ash, but I don't know, would you really have gone for the draw shoe, or would you rather hope that your opponent bricked and just help that
yeah.
brick?
I think I would have
looking
done
at
it,
the end, yeah.
Because like now Francesco is left with, you know, Ash, he has Ogre, and Nibiru as well.
Yeah, so...
Yeah, 3 end traps, I mean 4 with the double copy.
This
of
is
Ash.
an insane opening by Michael with the right. You can see a Ghost Ogre in the end of Francesco, which also gives you a tell of why he went for that play. Sometimes you look at your own end, you see an end trap, and you're like, oh, maybe he does have it.
Yeah.
And I think this is what happened with the Ogre. Unfortunately playing into the Nibiru, but I don't know. I don't know if you should blame him. Wow, but what a hand from Michael. Do you Ogre here the right? Yeah,
Yeah,
you have to. So Ash Blossom is the only line of defense left from Francesco, who regardless is gonna take a lot of damage here. So
the thing that can save Francesco is like Nibiru. He has it. We have to see if Michael thinks that, wow, also Foolish Burial.
Foolish Burial to top things off. He has a few options he can send here if he wants to play the game very slowly, even the snow, but he has, of course, the router. He has plenty of stuff.
He had a very good hand.
Let's see. Yeah, definitely a solid one. Do you think there were merits? I think I would have considered it just to play around Ash,
Yeah.
to go for the Foolish Burial instantly, but I don't know. We'll see.
The thing is that now he's keeping Ash for what? Like, will you Ash when?
Next game? Which I don't think will be there. No, but you can Ash for sure stuff like the Aki Fibrex. Maybe that's the best option. Like, just try and survive. But the problem is, once again, this router is not necessarily the best option. What we could see is the Striker Dragon Searcher, and then you could negate the Striker, I guess. I think I would allow this 100%. Because then the obvious line is you get another Tracer, and then you go for Striker, get the Fuse Spell, and then if you get Ash there, then it could hurt. So, I don't know. Francesco, for now, did Ash it, and I'm not a big fan of that. Because even if worst case scenario, you just use the Tracer on the token, you get into the battle phase, and then you go for Chaos, I think that's huge.
Yeah, because, like, I mean, you know that your opponent basically passed, so
yeah,
he at least needs to have another end trap. Worst case scenario, like, do you think if you were Michael that your opponent could have left the Nibiru even going first?
Yeah. So here we do see the Chaos Ruler come down. I think it's an Deer Node. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we will see the Veiler picked up, which doesn't hurt. Let's see. Wow. What a hand from Michael. Even the Chaos Space. Wow. This is absolutely insane stuff. Chaos Space, the best card by far, I think. You will always want to open it in Dragon Link. It does so much on its own. And yeah. Do you think he could risk playing into his opponent Nibiru though?
Yeah, that's what I was considering. Because, like, if your opponent plays Sprite and goes first, I would imagine him siding Nibiru out. Even though Nibiru is a very strong card against Dragon Link, right?
Could be the case, I agree.
But yeah, I mean, right now Michael is committed.
Yeah. You can see the difference in the two players, I guess. One, of course, it's much easier to be brave when we are one game up, so that's fair to say. But the main difference among them is that Michael at the Nibiru, but still knows that it's worth it not to play around it. So still, it does not commit to the OTK though. So he does somewhat play around Nibiru by going for the spheres.
Do you like it?
It could make sense. Like if you get Nibiru now, maybe you get to the OTK regardless. But at least if they Nibiru you, you have the spheres. So let's see.
Yeah, goes for cow space.
Yeah, and once again, he will be able later on to bring back the ruler, which is a lot of damage. And let's see.
Let's see if he gets to add the fill spell this time.
He does not. Wow. So twice in a row, he gets to draw the sector launch.
Does he
apparently,
play it?
or me? Yeah.
Does he play it? Does he like Michael?
Yeah, I mean, no, he does. Once again, the first game he milled it, the second game he draws it, but eventually it does come down, and this will allow him to push so much damage, because this is easily a game if he wants to push for it, because he has the Chaos Ruler to bring back from the graveyard. Let's see what he wants to go for.
Yeah, I think Francesco is just waiting for the right moment to drop the Nibiru.
You believe in it?
Maybe next game.
Maybe. Nibiru, of course, being the front man, we can say, the cover card from the playmat that our players were giving this weekend once they registered. It's definitely an amazing playmat, I would say. One of my favorites, honestly, of the last years. It's looking really nice. Yeah, and here we get to see the recharger, so he could go for Savage, for example.
Yeah, I think this is what we're going to see. It will make sense.
Let's see. He could go for it if he wants. He has quite a few options in his extra deck, honestly, if he wants to just push for game and play it more riskily, but yeah, he does go for the Savage. As expected, just trying to push some damage off the token. I don't exactly recall how big it was, but I think it was on Gigantic and not red, the Almiraj, so it's 0, so it's 16 basically. So not that big. Oh, but the Nibiru comes down.
Yeah.
So you did believe in Francesco, and although Michael was able to put a sphere on the field to somewhat try and play around it, Nibiru on both sides of the game. So
I think Michael anyway played well by summoning the Hieratic.
Yeah, and still keeping the Chaos Ruler.
Yeah.
So it was played well by Michael. He tried his best to play around the card, and now we could see a lot of different options. He does have an interesting side deck card, which we might come to see, probably not right now, but yeah. Yeah, this is one of the side deck cards from Michael, which is a card we haven't seen at all, I think, on stream ever. It's definitely an interesting target, which, as you can read, can pop up to 2 cards, and not the best here maybe, but let's see.
Yeah, it's one of these cards that Michael definitely...
Yeah, this is one of Michael's cards, you know. You just see a Michael deck, and he's gonna have some madness in there for sure. Outside of 11 cards in his side decks, yeah, pretty much. But still, what's really important to notice is these 4 minutes remaining in the clock.
Yep.
We were obviously looking at Michael's plays, but 4 minutes are not a lot, and we could risk this going into time. So if that happens, maybe they could end up drawing as well. But for now, Michaels just gets to the shoot engines, I guess.
Yeah, we have seen how like these matches, even though with very few turns, ended up being, you know, grind matches.
Yeah. It's just that many of these combo decks are not necessarily slow, but they do so much that they take time. So here we'll see the Dark, a card we have seen so much. All of the Charmers are just strong naturally, and we get to see the triple burst dragon alongside the added Basel Shoot, of course, which again, just like last game, is probably gonna lead to an access code later on.
It was well played by Michael.
Yeah,
by
absolutely.
The way. I mean, played under Nibiru, it was Ashed, it was Ogre.
Yeah, very nice play here. Still though, I think his opponent with 3 minutes remaining could have a chance, because we know he has Valor left, but unless there is something weird coming up, I think Michael has it in his pocket to just OTK his opponent, and I think, yeah, Francesco is just elaborating. So I think very well played by Michael. He's playing really well. Yeah, he just punishes two, punish the third one to pop the Nibiru, enters for game and handshake. So what a match from Michael. 2-0 victory, very well played, looks at the camera, and yeah, let's go back to us. Great match. Once again, we mentioned it at the beginning that Michael was acting up a little bit shy for the cameras. He was saying, you know, I've not been playing, I'm super rusty, I just picked up the deck. As you could see, it was mostly chat.
And it pays off.
Yeah,
always.
and it pays off, it pays off. It always pays off, and yeah, luckily for him, he actually proved to be one of the best players we have seen today on stream. Both game 1 and game 2, he won by going second, which is never obvious against Pride, and both times he was up against some types of responses, and I think he proved that he knows his deck in and out.
Oh, especially because like we thought it was not super easy to understand that your opponent had the Nibiru in game 2 especially.
No,
you know,
for sure.
Because like by playing Sprite, most likely of course Nibiru is very powerful against Dragon Link. But it's one of these cards that maybe you can side out, especially because like you don't want to draw multiple hand traps. You want to really get your engine going.
Yeah, it's definitely not obvious, and
that was very well played by Michael.
It was for sure. I want to ask him if we get the chance, and it would have been nice to ask his opponent as well, because I mean, game 1, as you mentioned, it was very long in a way. It was 22, 23 minutes long, but I feel like the pressure was mostly on his opponent. Michael, we had a little bit of a sketchy move with the red, allowing it to die essentially when he could have saved it. But I think at the end, Michael had such a good hand that he could have pushed through. But in game 2, the beginning line, it felt as if, yeah, because he revealed the whole end. So I think Michael eventually only had Nibiru as an answer. And his opponent decided to go for the Almirage play, playing into the Nibiru to play around Ogre. That, I think, changed the match dramatically, because if he played around Nibiru, as you would usually do, then he would have had even a red on the field, and I think he would have gone for the full combo with Totally Awesome, and Michael didn't have a response for that. So instead, he would have had either an additional card that was useless, and if he was able to clear through the whole board, he would have been like in a tough spot, because he would have used a lot of cards, and then there was the Nibiru in the end.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So I don't know, maybe you should have taken the risk, because what I'm thinking is, if you have the Nibiru in the end, and he also had the Ogre and Ash, I think.
Yeah, all like, of 3. Yeah.
If you get stopped, and the only punish is really Ogre, then you're still ending with like a lot of hand chops. Yeah. So I don't know.
You have multiples.
I think that's definitely something that Francesco could think on looking back at the match. But still, regardless, it was a very good match from 2 Italian players on both sides. And they are going to advance, at least Michael, with the 5-1 record, which is still really nice to advance to the issue and then to try and have a shot at the top 128. Regardless, as we mentioned, we still have a lot of action going on. I think the round which is going to come up right after the interview, which is round 7, is actually going to be the last round in which you'll get to see our German colleagues for the day, and then we'll take care of the last 2 rounds for you guys, so round 8 and round 9. But thank you again for watching. Now we will go back quickly to Ed for the interview with the man himself, Michael.
So guys, I am joined by the winner of round 6, Michael Forner. Michael, firstly, congratulations. Obviously, you've had things like top 16 in Euros. You took part in Worlds where you came 4th. These are all very good achievements. How does it feel to be back at another Euros, and how does it feel to be back at another tournament?
I really think that being back at a tournament is really a good moment, because after 3 years that we played like online, we played just with our friends at home. It's just really good to be in a real event, seeing like 2,000 people in a room, and also play the game we like, and also playing in a competitive way, which I like even more.
Excellent, and obviously you've played other decks in the past like Trickster, Phantom Knight Heroes. What made you choose Dragon Link for this tournament?
I really not tested that much because of work, because I have a lot of stuff to do. So I just relied on my team, Armageddon Duelist Gaming, because I really didn't know what to play, and then I just took from a player I think they're good what is the best idea for this tournament.
You had a couple of moments there where there was a bit of a Nibiru off going on during that game. So how did you keep composed? How did you make sure that you were playing around it? Because you were quite careful and calculated. What was going through your mind?
I made a lot of feature matches during my life, because I also played like top 4 at Euros, and who lost was like out of the world, and who won was in the World Championship. So like feature match round 6 is not like a lot of stuff if you made a lot of those kind of feature match.
Excellent. Well, congratulations on your win. You've done amazingly, and best of luck for the rest of the tournament. Guys, don't go anywhere, because we've got plenty more of the coverage of this tournament coming right